All right. So, honorable members, we are back. Now, once again, tonight's training is going to be taken by Honorable Raphael Kumako, who is the head of finance for the Youth Empowerment Consortium. He will be taking us through tonight's training. Now, Honorable Raphael Kumako have been with the Youth Empowerment Consortium since its inception. And over the years, for those of us that have been around for a long time, Honorable Fatao, Honorable Jose, and the rest, Honorable Raphael have been the one that have been taking us through all our detailed trainings on parliamentary business. And tonight, we are privileged to host him again to take us through the initial training on governance and that of parliamentary business. So as I explained earlier, we'll be looking at the architecture of Ghana's governance structure and the rest. Then later on, in subsequent sessions, we'll zoom into that of Parliament, that of Cabinet, and then look at that of the Youth Governance Program in detail. This is being done this way so that we can capture and have a better understanding of what transpires in this country, even before we look at the models that operate and direct in Ghana. So, Mr. Honorable Raphael, good evening to you. If you can hear me loud and clear, you can unmute your microphone and proceed. So I'll come in as of when it's necessary. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Edward Mapo. If my audio is okay, then give me an indication about that.
Yes, I can hear you from here.
Honorable members, if you can hear me, maybe an emoji in the reaction session
You're
so
loud
that
and
I know
clear.
you can hear me clearly. Okay, thank you very much. So good evening once again. My name is Honorable Raphael Kumako, Director of Finance for WEC. And as the General Secretary said, this training will be in sessions, probably 2 or 3 sessions. Now, the first one is just to look at the governance structure of our country since independence dates. The next one we look at the parliament itself, how parliament operates, what happens in parliament, how the laws are made, the committee systems in parliament and those things. That's what the next session we look at. But for this session, we're just looking at the overview of our architecture as a country. But before I start, as young people who want to be leaders, why do we have to know our governance system? Why do we know our governance structure? Why is it important to know that? It's very important because our voice counts. As the citizen of this country, our voice are very key when it comes to governance issues in this country. The demography or the last census that the Ghana Statistical Service conducted, it showed clearly that Ghana have a youthful population. That means that decisions of the state cannot be taken without considering the youth and or the young people of each country. For that matter, our voice in national policy, civic engagement, and public consultation has to be paramount. And we have to know that nobody will create it for us. We have to deliberately get ourselves involved. So there's one thing that our General Secretary normally says that if you want to enter into politics and you know that, okay, you want to do parliamentary politics, immediately you align with any of the political parties that you want at your grassroots level. You attend their meetings, you attend their engagement, so that your voice will begin to be heard from that point. The future is also at stake here. If care is not taken and we don't get involved, our future will be in jeopardy. Because how can we in the majority, as the young people, should we leave the country to the minority group? No, I don't think so. Yesterday, I read a comment by Honorable Boachi. I think he's aspiring to be the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. And he said that they gave the party to the young people and the young people failed them. But is that actually the case? That's also another discussion for another day. So our future is at stake. If we don't rise, if we don't take interest in governance, our future is at stake. And also, we are all potential leaders. As you're on the call, you are representing your constituency. You went through voting. So it means that people have entrusted you with some kind of leadership. So you are a potential leader. One day you can become an MP of your area. I know some of you are already into leadership, maybe party leadership, local government leadership. So we are all potential leaders. So we have to take key interest in the governance of the country. And then lastly, don't be afraid because our rights are guaranteed under the 1992 Constitution. Nobody can take that away from us. That's the fundamental law of the country. Have guaranteed that our right. So we shouldn't be afraid of victimization. We should be bold enough to to take issues, leadership issues, in a more engaging way so that our voice will be heard. Okay. So that being said, now we'll zoom in into the governance structure of the country. So as we speak now, we are under the dispensation of the Fourth Republic. That's the 1992 Constitution established the Fourth Republic. But before the Fourth Republic, since independence, we've gone through a lot of changes. So we first of all chronicle those changes, and then you come to the Fourth Republic and look at the key features, the three arms of government as captured by the Fourth Republic, and we'll look at if some of the key features in them. Okay. So Ghana gained independence, as we all know, in 1957, and and so the period before 1957 is also another history on its own, which this training or this presentation won't touch on, but maybe subsequent ones will look at it. So Ghana gained independence in 1957 from the British colonial government. And at independence, we adopted the Westminster style of parliament. Okay, so we have different systems of parliament. The Westminster one is a critical example that we adopted at independence, where they have two chambers. As we move on, we will see that throughout history, Ghana have practiced all the various systems as they have parliamentary system, presidential system, and even when it comes to parliamentary system, the Westminster system, we practice that, and then we look at why it inform our decision to adopt the current system as we have. So from 1957 to 1960, where we became a Republican state. So in 1957, because we are doing the Westminster system, we had a prime minister and then the British monarch as the head of state. Then Kwame Nkrumah was the prime minister. But in 1960, Ghana became a republic state. So that's the first republic through the 1960 constitution. So Kwame Nkrumah was then elected as a president. Then in 1964, Kwame Nkrumah did amendment to the 1960 constitution and then turned Ghana into a one-party state. So Ghana have practiced a one-party state before we are practicing what our constitution describe as a multi-party system. But I describe it as a two-party system, which I'll give you reasons why in later slides. So in 1960, when we became a Republican state, it was a presidential system that we adopted. So you have an executive president that is in Kwame Nkrumah. Then in 1964, as I said, the 1960 constitution was amended and then into a one-party state. Then unfortunately for us, in 1966, Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown and 1966. So we had a military taking over. So there was a break from constitutional rule. And now, when there's a military takeover in the country, the institution that suffers most is Parliament. That's the institution that suffers most, Parliament. For the executive, because the military will take over, they serve as the executive, and sometimes they grant limited judicial access. So they are there, but Parliament is totally out. So totally out. So Parliament suffers the most.
Honorable Raphael, I'm getting
Yes,
an
Mr. Mark,
yes, I'm getting an indication that your voice is a bit low. Can you speak up a bit?
okay. I think let me up my volume a bit. Is it a bit okay now?
For me, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, maybe I'll speak up a bit, so that's
Okay.
fine. All right. So thank you very much. So as I said, in 1966, we had a military intervention that was led by a lot of people. The 1966 military takeover was quite something else. They started with the NLC, then later on NRC came in, SMC1, SMC2, and then eventually in 1979, we decided to return the country back to constitutional rule. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
Okay.
you are
Uh,
audible.
okay. So, so from 1966 to around 1969, we were under military regime. So the National Liberation Council, led by Joseph Ankara, then Joseph Ankara and then Akwasi Africa, they overthrew Kwame Nkrumah. Then in 19, then the later on the Second Republic also started. Then we had another military intervention, which is in the 72 by I.K. Echampo, which came with the National Redemption Council. Then later on reconstituted to the Supreme Military Council. Then that's one. Then Supreme Military Council 2 also came in later by General Akufu. Then in June of 1979, June of 1979, Anchor Jerry Rawlings also came in to organize another coup. Like so, in that period, though it was just one military regime, but three different people came during that period. Now, there was an intended election that was already planned for that year. So when Rawlings came in, he allowed for the election to go on. And through that election, Dr. Laliman came to become the president and started the Third Republic. That's from 1979. So through 1979 up to 1981. Then Rawlings came in again to overthrow Lehman with a claim that all the things that Lehman said he would be doing never did those things. So Rawlings came back. So our our journey from 1957 have seen several military interventions. So after the 96, the First Republic, we had a military intervention. Then we came to the Second Republic, we had a military intervention. Then we came to the Third Republic, then we had a military intervention. Then from there, we move on to the Fourth Republic, that's from 92. So since independence, this is the longest that we've come so far, that we've had a smooth constitutional democratic governance without a military intervention. That's over 30 years. That's quite something that we need to celebrate because this is the doing of the Lord, as we may say. Okay. So that's a bit about our journey from independence to our current state, as we have it in 19, we have from 1992. But as I was saying, between that, we had a various systems being practiced. Independence or Westminster parliamentary system. Then First Republic, we had one party state also being practiced in there. Then Remand came with the presidential system. Then the Fourth Republic introduced multi-party democracy. And then we adopted a different style called a hybrid system where we've taken some features of the presidential system and then features of the parliamentary system that we are practicing. Now, in the 1992 Constitution, basically there are three arms or the three branches. There's a fourth arm of government, which is the media, but it's not recognized in our books, our Constitution. So normally we don't refer them. People call them the fourth estate of the country, but recognizably is the three arms of government. That's what to be our focus for this evening's discussion. Now, we take the three arms of government. We have the executive, we have the legislature, and then we have the judiciary. The Constitution makes it in a way that it's supposed to be should be separation of power. That means that each of them perform their roles independent of the other, but the one will serve as a check on the other one. So there's separation of powers, and also there's checks and balances. Example, there's the presidency prepare its budget, take it to parliament for parliament to either approve or reject the budget of the executive. The judiciary, which is headed by the Chief Justice, the President in consultation with the Council of State will appoint somebody to be the Chief Justice. Then Parliament will come in to vet that person and give approval or recommendation for approval before that person goes to become the head. So these are the things of the separation and then the check of and balances that as we see them. So we want to briefly look at each of them and then we move on from them. Now, when you take the executive branch is the most powerful arm of government because it is headed by an executive president. So the executive president serves both as a head of state and then head of government. So aside performing the duties of the state, running like making sure everything happens, it's also the ceremonial head. So in ceremony, is the president that leads. The president is also the commander in chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. So if they need to declare a state of emergency, it is done by the president, but subject to approval of parliament. But this provision has been slightly amended during the COVID era, where under serious emergency situation, the president has the powers to declare a state of emergency even before later at a convenient time report to parliament for ratification. So that's also the executive branch is also composed of the minister, cabinet ministers, and all council of state. So the Council of State are elders of the state who normally advise the president on decisions. The president are selected. The president together with the vice president, their position is elected position, but ministers are appointed. So the ministers are appointees of the executive president. The reason why most most literature or most scholars define our current arrangement that the executive is the most powerful arm of government is because if you look at the 1992 Constitution carefully, almost all appointments are done by the president, from the ministers to the DC. All these appointments are done by the president, the head of institutions, the board, and everything. And even the chief justice is appointed by the president, though it is true with a consultation with the Council of State, but it still come back to the president for appointment. So it's given so much powers, so much powers to the president. So the president is normally elected to serve 4 years for a term, and then per the provisions in the constitution, they have a maximum term of two. But whether it is conservative or just 2 terms, that's also a matter of interpretation by the Supreme Court, which I'm sure some people are leaving their boots to go to the Supreme Court for a proper interpretation of that. So, so currently, as we have 16 regions in Ghana now, and then the current constitution as we used, as I said earlier, was adopted in 1992. So these are the checks on the executive power. One, Parliament must approve the budget of the government, as I said earlier on. So per the law, by November of every year, the finance minister, upon the authority of the president, presents a budget to the parliament for them to approve. So when they read the budget, they go through the process of approving the budget, which in our next training, we'll look at how all these things are done. Then some of the presidential appointees require parliamentary vetting. For example, the ministers and deputy ministers, once president appoints them, the list is sent to the Speaker of Parliament. Speaker refers them to the appointment committee. Then they sit and vet them. They bring their recommendations to the floor of the House, whether they should approve or not. Where the recommendation coming from the the committee a unanimous decision, then they will just go through the process and approve them. But where there's a division at the committee level, then they come to the floor for voting, then they vote on who become members. But since 1992, I'm yet to see a minister which have gone through vetting but was not approved by Parliament. So that's also one of the things. Now, another thing is that the judiciary can overturn presidential actions as unconstitutional. That's another check on the executive branch. So the judiciary is to interpret the law made by Parliament, and then the executive will implement the law. So where the executive take action, and then the matter gets to the courts, specifically the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says that the action or the inaction of the president or the government is unconstitutional, they can overturn it. So that's also another check on them. Then the Council of State provide independent advisory oversight. But how do we get the Council of State? They are elected from all the 16 regions. Then there are specific constituents which are represented. The National House of Chief have a representation. The clergy have a representation. The women have a representation. Then they all come together to form the Council of State. So they provide independent advisory to the president. But the problem we've had in Ghana is that their advice normally don't come public, don't come public. So, and then we've also not had a situation where the Council of State will come out to say that we gave this advice to this president and the president didn't take it. So we don't even know if the advice that is given to the president are always in support of the president's action or not, because their these things don't come out. Then there's a two-term limit on the president. Citizens can also petition the court against presidential abuse, which have not been the case in Ghana for some time. So basically, this is the executive branch of government, which is the most powerful, as we say. All right. Now let's look at the second arm of government, which is the Parliament of Ghana, which will be our next training will focus on Parliament, how they do their things. But so this one is just giving a general overview of Parliament. The main function of Parliament is lawmaking. So they amend laws, they enact laws, they repeal legislation, and all those things. So lawmaking or legislation is in the domain of the second arm, that's Parliament of Ghana. They also have a financial oversight. As I said, national budgets have to go to them, and then they look at it and approve it. Aside that, even government spending from department agencies and ministries, after the Auditor General finished the audit, have to go to Parliament for Parliament to sit on. So we've been hearing the Public Accounts Committee, where people go there to go and defend their actions. Sometimes there are infractions, and then they go and answer why those things, where there are some cases where Parliament even recommend that some of those monies should be refunded, some of them should be interdicted, and those things. So that's also a financial oversight as performed by Parliament. Another one is they hold executive accountable. So once a while, when Parliament has a question, it could be a public interest question, it could be a question that is in relation to their constituency or a specific thing happening in the country. They can ask the ministers or deputy ministers or other executive branch members to appear before the House to answer questions. So that is one of the ways that the Parliament hold the executive also accountable, and it is their function of doing that. And then another function is the vetting and ratification. So they vet presidential appointees, and when it comes to ratifications, there are a lot of international treaties that Ghana signed. So basically, partnership with other international organizations or other countries. Per our law, the 1992 Constitution, some of these treaties and agreements have to come to Parliament for ratification. So it means that Ghana have already entered into the agreement with the country already. But for it to take effect, then Parliament, which is the representative of the people, have to ratify it. That has to agree with it before they can't the fact. So that's why some months ago we had the Foreign Affairs Minister saying that Ghana collaborated with US to bomb some parts of Nigeria. It became a big issue where people were raising concern. What was the form of the collaboration? What was Ghana's role? Did those agreements came to Parliament for ratification? But as we speak now, we are yet to hear answers to some of those questions that's being raised. So that's Parliament of Ghana. The next one, we look at the third arm, which is the judiciary. The judiciary is supposed to be independent. They provide justice, and when it comes to the rule of law, they are in charge. Their main function is to interpret the law as made by Parliament. So this is how the thing work. Parliament makes the law. Judiciary interprets the law as made by Parliament, and the executive will implement the law. That's how it works. That's how the three system works. But when it comes to Ghana, our judicial system has been divided into two. We have the upper court and then we have the lower court. So the upper court are made up of the appeal court or the court of appeal, and then the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the highest court of the land, and all final interpretations are done by the Supreme Court. So if you take your case to the Supreme Court and then you are not certified, you petition the same Supreme Court again. If you are not certified, you still petition the same Supreme Court again. And then if you are not certified, then maybe you go to International Court of Justice or ECOWAS Court or whatever. But there's no other body that is higher than Supreme Court in Ghana that you can send your petition to. So beneath the Supreme Court is the Court of Appeal. So the Court of Appeal normally review the decisions of the lower court to see if they are conform with the laws of the country. So a high court ruling can go to the Court of Appeal, whether for a review or confirmation, where we've seen some of the cases in Ghana. Then you have the circuit court, and then you have beneath the circuit court, the district court, the juvenile tribunal, and those things. All these courts handle the minor issues, the local disputes. So civil case, some of the criminal cases pass from the lower court before it gets to the high court. So this is the structure of our judiciary as we have them. The judiciary is headed by the Chief Justice, who is appointed by the President in consultation with the Council of State. I know there are recent issues about appointment of the Chief Justice, but that's also another discussion for another day. Okay. So Ghana as a country, Ghana as a country, Ghana as a country, in part of the 1992 Constitution, adopted local government system. Now, one of the reasons why Rawlings came back to overthrow Liman was that the, 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 the claim was that governance was centered around the top. So immediately he came in around 1988, he started with a form of decentralization. So decentralize power to the people. That so if you read the 1992 Constitution, think chapter 20 that thereabout, say that development starts from the people at the local level. So Parliament should make efforts, deliberate efforts to decentralize resources, that to transfer resources to the local level. So decentralization was the main feature of the 1992 Constitution, so that at least development can be can start from the people. That's why it is even advisable that as young people, if you want to enter mainstream politics, as much as possible, let's start from the local, because definitely they are the same people going to vote for us. You want to be an MP and you're in Accra on social media campaigning. Once you don't go to your constituency, you don't go to your local area, there's nobody who even knows you from the village you said you're coming from. How do you become an MP of that area? So this is the thing that the 19th Constitution brought. So governance closer to the people. We have 16 regions in Ghana. It used to be 10, but now we have 16 regions. All these 16 regions are headed by regional ministers. It used to be regional ministers and their deputies. But when Mahama came, the second Mahama said we only working with 60 people, so we abolished the deputy regional minister. So currently we have 16 regions, the 16 regional ministers. Then we have within the region, we have the regional coordinating council that serve as the head of the local assembly in the region. Then we have the metro, municipal, district assemblies, which governs the local area. So they are the direct interface between the citizens and government. And all the head of these MMDAs are also appointed by the president. So the DCE, the municipal chief executive, or the mayor. They are all appointed by the president, though the constitution has made a provision for them to be approved by the assembly members. And that's also one of the challenges that the recent Constitutional Review Committee is proposing, that there should be um, election of the MMMD based on universal adult suffrage. We are all waiting for the government white paper on some of these provisions and see if it will go through or not. But it was part of Mohammed's promise that when it comes to make sure that the DC's position is fully elected. Another thing is community participation. So the districts are divided into electoral areas. Then electoral areas have assembly members or assemblymen and women who represent the local area. If you come to my district like this, as a member also we have 21 electoral areas, 21 electoral areas, which all of them elect assembly members to represent them at the assembly level. Then there's also that resources are supposed to be given to the, the district assemblies for development. So the constitution made an effort that at least 5%, at least 5% of our total revenue of the country should be given to the district assembly in the form of district assembly common fund, which goes to them quarterly. So there's a formula of distributing, how to distribute it among the district assembly. So it goes to them yearly. It's supposed to, it's yearly, but normally released to them quarterly so that they can use for development. The only main challenge around our local government system is that we have done what is called the the decentralization, but we have not devolved. The devolution is where you transfer the power, the real power to the local people. But what we have been doing so far is just delegation and other forms of decentralization. We are not giving the real powers to the people to develop. So even the monies that are given to them, the district assembly common fund that is given to the district assembly, they are told how to use the money. uh, like last year's budget that was approved and then we are using currently, all the money that went to the district assembly have a formula how to utilize the money. 20% for this, 10% for this, 10% for so they are limited. Whether or not the 20% for maybe a 24-hour market, if that district don't need the market, but because the money that came said they should build market, they have to build market. Probably their issue is about something else. And so these are the challenges with our local government system that we are hoping that the new constitutional review recommendations will actually um, address them. So finally, as a young person, what is your role? Your role for the future of Ghana? What can you do? One, you have to educate yourself. So be knowledgeable about our constitution, know our history, know our governance structure, because knowledge is your greatest tool. If you are ignorant, your right will be infringed upon and you don't know where to go. I'm sure some of us have this experience where there are things that are done to us and then we don't even know who to approach. We don't even know that we can walk to the offices of our DCs to demand accountability for the money we've given to them because it's not their pocket money, it is the state money that is given to them. So you can walk into your DC, why is this project that was started is not being completed? You use state money to start a lot of buildings, a lot of projects, and you leave them as young people. When we educate ourselves and we are knowledgeable about some of these things, we can definitely question our leaders about how they are doing things. Number two, register and vote. Don't say that as for me, I won't vote again because both NPP and NDC they are the same. Oh, why? They are the same. So, but the among the two evils, maybe one would be a bit better. Uh-huh. So don't say that because if you leave the voting, if you don't go and vote, somebody will go and vote to select the person you think you are saying is not good for you to come and rule you. When they are ruling you too, all of us will be in it. So don't say that I won't vote as a young person. Then engage locally, as I said, engage locally. Start to the local level as a young person. Right now, if you have intention of entering mainstream politics, you should be aligned with your local people. Go to your community. You start some small projects here and there. So, uh, last dinner secretary was saying it. At this stage, you don't need huge money. Maybe we are in second term. Third term will start soon. You can buy one box of exercise book and go and give to a school in your community, take some pictures down, then you start engaging. Then go to the assemblyman. I can see our gutters are choked. Can we organize maybe a cleanup exercise one day, once a week, once a month? Some of these things, then we are engaging locally. Then you hold our leaders accountable, hold our leaders accountable. And then lastly, you aspire to lead. You aspire to lead is very important. If you do all these things, then you are building yourself to become a future leader as we all dream of. Because for Ghana to become better, we can't leave it only in the hands of our fathers and grandfathers. We have to also get involved as young people. So thank you very much for listening to me. Let's build it, lead and protect it. Thank you very much. So at this point, I'll pause here and then we'll open for questions, discussion, and then so the floor is open. Mr.
All right.
Marco.
All right. So thank you very much, Honorable Raphael Kumako, for such an insightful session. I think we had some issues a little bit with your voice. So maybe next time we will have to work around, do a test transmission to see whether it's from the laptops audio or it's the network. But in total, I think it's been eye-opening for most of us. So honorable members, we will pick some few questions. So in case you have a question of any kind, you can raise up your hand. I will call you and then you unmute your microphone and ask your question accordingly. When you unmute your microphone, please go straight to the point, as in ask the question. Don't beat about the bush so that we can pick that of others as well. Honorable Ayuba Adama, your hand is up. Kindly unmute your microphone and let's hear from you. Honorable Ayuba Adama.
Hello, good evening to you also. Please, can you hear me?
Audible, we can hear you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am Mr. Ayuba Adama, honorable member for Paul Bamboy. Please, Mr. Kuma mentioned of like we going to or we visiting our leaders to ask them questions or ask them about like maybe money that has been given to them. I think that's the best way. But now, if you are not someone who they recognize you as a leader or who they know that you are handling a big position, how to even meet them after giving the opportunity to them to serve as an MP or to serve as a DC in your constituency is very difficult. So how to even get access to them, to sit with them and ask them one or two things and understand what is going on. I think it has also been a challenge to we the youth. Because of that, we don't always get enough time to go closer to them. I think this is the little thing I have to also contribute to the platform.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Honorable Emmanuel, your hand is up. And you are Mr.
Okay. Um, Good evening to you, boss. Please, Manonyaoli, MP for Domiabra, Ubum constituency. Yes, in your submission, boss, you said in the check and balances, you said that Parliament must approve uh, budgets from the ministry. I was thinking that it is either approve or disapprove, because here's the case. I think the last government, in the last government, there was some issue like that in passing of uh, the budgets. There was disapproval. So if there has been a history like that, then it should be stated in your submission as either approve or disapprove, not must approve budgets from the finance ministry. Thank you.
All right. I think I will still cross-check from the slide that he shared. But in any case, I think both are valid. It can be approved. It can also be disapproved. So we will still cross-check from the slide, but that also should not be any big deal. Because if something can be approved, then definitely it can also be disapproved. And I think we've also had instances where budgets are disapproved. So it's not a big deal. Any other question? Any other hand? Honorable Agbo Justice, your hand is up. Kindly unmute your microphone and let's hear from you.
Good evening, boss. Good evening, honorable members. Please, I wanted to ask concerning making the local assembly, which is our assembly. I'm a representative of North Don District. I want to ask, can we have the opportunity to attend the to explain about the program we are engaging in as a representative of the district concerning the local assembly?
Can you come back with a question? You said, can you have what?
The opportunity to communicate with your assemblyman in your local assembly, which is our community, to work with him as a representative of your district.
Yes, for that you can do that. If I got your question, you're asking if can you have the opportunity to work with your assemblyman or the one in your district as a representative on the program? Is that your question?
Yes,
Is that your question?
yes, boss.
So I think the last time someone asked a question like this. That particular. So with that, it will have to come from you. When you are inducted, after your induction, you have your member ID card. You have your member. You can write an introductory letter and then present yourself as the representative for either the district or the constituency. Now, when that comes to play, if there is a specific activity that you would want to be part of, I think you can duly request also to be part of that. But what we also know is that some of these things will also require an approval from the office that you want to be part of. So when you write, it requires a persistence, follow-up persistence before you can have that go ahead to be part of some of these activities. So that is it with that. Honorable Agbo, have I answered you? All right. Any other question? Any other hand up? Any other question? Okay, all right. So in the absence of any other question, Honorable Raphael, I think you can unmute your microphone and then give us your final words, and we'll bring our meeting to an end.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Marshall. So finally, what I want to say is that I think consensus is about how to connect with the local people and the leaders in the community. You see, sometimes it depends on our approach. You can go to the assemblyman. You don't need to have a position to even collaborate with the assemblyman. Just go to the assemblyman. I've seen a lot of problems these days. Can we do this? Discuss with him. Then we come together and then you do it. It's only when you go and then your approach is wrong, they also resist. Even the MP, yes, some of them are very difficult to get to, but with a little effort and then the approach, then you can get them. So all that I want to say is that as young people, let's take our destiny into our own hands. Let's create the right connections. Let's do the right thing so that we'll prepare ourselves for the future as we seek to live. So that's what I have to say. Good evening to all the leaders on the call. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Raphael. Is it possible for us to share the slide on the platform after the meeting?
Yes, my suggestion, yes.
All right. So, honorable members, thank you very much for your time with us this evening. Our meeting is ending. Thank you very much, Honorable Raphael, for such a detailed training concerning governance work in our country. Our meeting is ending. The next session of the training on parliamentary business, or the one relative to governance, will take us into that of Parliament, how Parliament operates, and then we'll link that to the details of Youth Model Parliament, its debate, and its activities and others. So kindly, if you're on the call and we call for the meeting, don't miss. And most of these engagements, if you are missing them, you only end up confused. And then over a period of time, if you miss 1, 2, 3, you stop attending the Zoom meetings, and then that will be your end. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, from our last meeting, we are all adults, and it can't be threatening you. So make some time. The meetings are short, and then we are attending them just as you came today, so that we'll be able to carry on, and then keep on linking the trainings as we are doing. And then when we need to now meet, have practice, we can all have practice knowing exactly what we are doing. So thank you very much. I mentioned earlier also that our induction is on the last Saturday of May. That will be in Accra. That is on the 30th May. And that will be in Accra. So whatever preparations you are doing, put yourselves together. If you need to start asking for permission, kindly start doing that. Then as we go into next week and next 2 weeks, we will start our countdown. We'll be sharing your confirmation flyers on our Facebook as well as a build up to the event. So we're putting yourselves together, and then hopefully the next trainings also will be fine. I think on our activity schedule, on 22nd, we have a Youth Digest series. Now, the Youth Digest series is usually around a virtual roundtable discussions on topical issues of national importance. So for that of the Youth Digest series, we will look for a topic, we'll put it out and call for people who would want to speak on the 22nd, right? And then if you present your name and the rest, there'll be a flyer, we will share it. And then when the time comes, you will have to have done research on the topic a bit to put some facts together. Then you come on and then you will speak just as we used to do. And then we'll go live on Facebook instead. So let's watch out for it when the administrator brings up the topic and you are interested to speak, you do that accordingly so that we can pick that also from there. So I'll speak with Honorable Raphael, and then possibly I'll share the slide on the page. We are trying to discourage people always looking for recordings and slides. It doesn't work well. People begin to rely on that. They no longer attend meetings. They rely on recordings and stuff. So I'll speak with him, and then I'll share the recording or the slide as of when I have it from his end. So, honorable members, thank you very much for your time. And hopefully we'll meet again on 22nd for the roundtable discussion.
Thank you too. We enjoyed the last session.
Very much. I have a blessed day. Honorable Afishetu Fahad, right?
Bye.